Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The UN's Secretary-General has warned that Pakistan is facing a monsoon on steroids after floods submerged a third of the country. Antonio Guterres urged the world to come to Pakistan's aid as he launched a $160 million appeal to help the tens of millions affected in the disaster. At least 1,136 people have been killed since June, and roads, crops, homes and bridges have been washed away across the country. Around 33 million people have been affected. It's the most devastating floods to hit the country since 2010, the deadliest in Pakistan's history, which left more than 2,000 people dead.
I think it's going to be huge. So far, a very early preliminary estimate is that it is higher than $10 billion. My hunch is that this is going to be 2 to 3 times higher than what we are estimating.
And it's not just people who have been affected by the flooding. In the town of Charsada, the Lucky Animal Protection Shelter was right in the path of the devastating floods. The entire shelter flooded on Saturday, and it took over a day for shelter staff to bring all 250 animals to safety. Many of them now reside in nearby Peshawar. Shelter staff have asked for help from the Pakistani government in running their operation. Ukraine's military says it has destroyed key Russian control points, weapons and warehouses as it tries to take back the occupied city of Kherson. A spokeswoman for the Southern Military Command says bridges around the city have been rendered unusable after Ukrainian strikes. It follows weeks of Ukrainian attacks aimed at cutting off Russian forces in the southern region, which has been controlled by Moscow since March. At least 23 people have been killed in some of the worst fighting for years in Iraq's capital, Baghdad, sparked by a key leader's decision to quit politics. Gunshots and rocket fire rang out as supporters of Shia Muslim cleric Muqtada al-Assad clashed with security forces and militias aligned with Iran. Mr. Assad has ordered his supporters to withdraw from outside Parliament, where they have been protesting for weeks. Iraq has been in a state of paralysis since inconclusive elections in 2021. Sri Lanka's president says that his bankrupt country's talks with the International Monetary Fund for a rescue package have successfully reached the final stages as he presented an amended budget that seeks to tame inflation and hike taxes. It comes as police fired tear gas on students demonstrating against the detention of a student leader, also under anti-terror laws. The new budget comes amid a relative calm following months of public protests that led to the ousting of Wickrem Singha's predecessor and his family members from power. The highest brick tower in the world has had a special set of visitors as skydivers whizzed past the picturesque structure. Built more than 500 years ago, the 130-metre-high steeple at St. Martin's Church in Landshut was buzzed by experienced American Miles Daesch. His colleagues Marco Waltenspiel and Max Manno and Marco Fürst also made their mark on the old town in Germany, landing in the Isar River. And finally, one of the world's craziest culinary competitions has returned after a 2-year COVID-induced hiatus.
Genius use of the wigs there, just in case you were wondering.
A host of wrestlers took part in the 12th annual World Gravy Wrestling Championships in Lancashire. The event sees competitors grapple in a pool of gravy in 2-minute bouts, with points being scored for fancy dress, entertainment value and wrestling ability.
Well, you've got to be, number 1, entertaining, number 2, you've got to come with the right spirit, number 3, you've got to be prepared to be thrown around in that.
Confidence, that's what it takes. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how little, you know, I'm 5 foot compared to this guy over here. It's purely confidence.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.